gone, so gone, so gone, it's plain to see. I'm feeling bad.
We're here with a future rising star of the world, GaBRieLLe ProTeL, and she just completed directing and writing.
Yeah.
Her first film.
Directing, writing, and co-producing.
So directing, writing, and co-producing a short indie film.
Called Elephant Line.
Talk close. Sorry, take this one. I'm always loud no matter what, but everyone else is like, quiet, I don't know how that happened. All right, so what's it called again?
Elephant Line?
Elephant Line, and it's a mother-daughter story.
It's a short film about a mother and a daughter, and the trials and tribulations of being mother and daughter. And it's based on a very true story, true experiences, true life, but fabricated to
Make it a movie.
absolutely.
So it's like autobiographical fiction.
Perfect way to put it.
Yeah, that's how I call every song I ever write. Exactly.
Is there a lot of competition, like between mother and daughter, to do certain things?
There's not so much the competition between mother and daughter. It's more about the way that a mother treats their daughter, or the way that a daughter treats their mother. And you see throughout the film, I mean, it is a short, but you see how powerful really that connection is, whether it's good, bad, happy, sad, positive, or negative. There are always things that can go wrong.
Now, do you think that you can actually see through the eyes of the mother? I mean, I'm a mother and a daughter, so like when I read things or see things, I see things from both sides because I feel like I'm right in the middle of both. And each role is so different from the other, and yet there's a common thread at the same time.
Well, I'm not a mom. I'm only 24.
Right.
And I wish that at times while writing this, I could have reached inside of the mother's role and been able to really see through her eyes. But the antagonist is very much based on my own mother, so who I have lived with and grown up with.
The antagonist.
The
Oh, you're fighting mother, not Mother Teresa.
No, but she's but as
every mother is portrayed.
Every mother. I love my mother
exactly
more than anything.
I know.
But
we're always that.
You understand each other. That's the whole thing.
We are actually born. I'm actually born on my mother's 30th birthday. We are
Wow.
exactly 30 years apart to the day. So
wow, you share a birthday. That's huge.
Well, here's another thing that I want to run by you. Is sometimes a mother may see her youth fading away as she sees you. That particularly you, but in any mother-daughter, any mother-daughter relationship, you know, she's getting older and you're young and vibrant.
We were just talking about how great getting older is.
I do have to say that my mom, I will not, well, I guess you kind of already know her age, but my mom.
No, she's only. Oh, right. You said how old you are.
But she does not look her age.
Oh,
she
she's
does
gorgeous.
not act her age.
Her mother was really good friends with my brother, who is an angel who produces my show.
They were best friends. My mother was obsessed with her mother.
And my brother was obsessed with her mother when we were little kids. And now this little angel child has fell into my world, and it's amazing. So who is in the movie?
So the protagonist, Layla, is played by Josephine Wheelwright. And the mother, Sarah, is played by an amazing woman, Kate King, who I found through Josephine. They had met actually a week before, and she came to me and she said, "Gabby, you have to meet this woman." And I said, "Okay." I was a little afraid. In her photos, she seemed as if she was short, and I called her right before, and I said, "Is your hair," trying to make something up. I said, "So is your hair blonde or brunette, and are you short, are you tall?" And she walked into my house and I knew it was a perfect
Love at
match.
first sight.
It was love at first sight. She came in, the questions that she asked me, the enthusiasm absorbing the character, and even in her own relationship with her own daughter, she brought to the character. They both did. They both were phenomenal.
Okay, now this was a project, and you have a Kickstarter account for this project. For what reason?
Well, this project is actually my senior thesis film, but it's also probably the most important and phenomenal project I've ever worked on in my life.
Right.
I basically wanted to go an extra step and raise money. I wanted to pay everyone that worked on my film. So the Kickstarter is actually completely funded with 9 days to go with some.
Wow, that's amazing.
Really amazing. And the support that everyone has, it's been phenomenal.
And how long is the film?
Well, we're in post-production.
Okay.
And at this point, there's going to be 2 cuts. One that will be sent to festivals,
right,
and one that will be submitted to school. So the school submission will be a 10-minute short under the qualifications of school.
Right.
But it will be slightly extended for festivals.
Nice.
You talked about angels in the room. I can hear my mother now. Get up here!
And do what?
Huh? Well, she'd be calling me if I was down the street and maybe dinner was ready. Or maybe I was throwing rocks. We used to throw rocks at each other as kids all day. We spent the whole day throwing rocks at each other.
He's thinking of his mother now because of you.
Well, you're saying with the angels in the room, I started to get my mother screaming out the window.
But that's interesting because we're talking about mothers and daughters, and he feels left out.
Well,
it's a mother and a son. It's a different relationship.
I definitely have 2 little brothers that one is 20, one's 17, and the 20-year-old, the last edit that I made before shooting, I said, okay guys, I want you to read it. The 20-year-old said, good luck, may the force be with you. He's a Star Wars fan. And the 17-year-old said, this is so true that I don't know how people will react. And I think that it's a very powerful film. It was very powerful to write. It was very powerful to shoot. The crew and the cast involved are all very, they're professionals, but yet I grew up with them and I know them, and they really tackled this project full force.
Everybody has different kinds of relationships with their parents. Some are constant battles, and others they get along like best friends. A father and son get along like best friends, and others are constant battles. Yeah.
But there can be both. There can be the best. You can be very close, but there's always that fine line of if your parent is your friend or treats you as a child, as their child. But I think that's addressed in the film.
It's interesting. I mean, when do you think it will be finished so everyone can see it?
Well, actually, there'll be a rough cut. It has to be finished for school by next week. So there will be a cut. I have seen a cut. It's remarkable. It's
how exciting!
So
so what's your dream? What do you want to be when you grow up?
At 24.
At 24. I've been studying film since
Brown.
Right, of course. I've been studying film since I was 16, and my mother was into film, and I always wanted to kind of steer myself away from what she did, her profession, but it seems as if I keep coming back to it.
You're so good at it by osmosis.
I don't understand. So basically, she was a photographer. I love photography. She's into film. I'm very much into film.
So you couldn't rebel even if you tried?
I couldn't. There's no possible way.
Why are you becoming your mother?
She already is. Isn't that the
And they say for a guy, one day as a guy gets older, like put the shirt on and you say, hey, my father's hand came out of the sleeve. When you're getting older, all of a sudden your hand don't look the same. You're getting older.
Well, I don't think you turned into your father.
Well, I'm getting the Dr. Phil ring. I think I'll start with the Dr. Phil ring. Matter of fact.
Is that your father?
It's Ben Laden there with the headshot here. I don't want to get off your subject, but
I just heard something about him yesterday, but that's another story.
Okay.
So Gabby, this is all fabulous and stuff, but it is National Soccer Torque Day, and we would love to get a skeleton from your closet. Something maybe your mother doesn't know.
My mother doesn't know.
Did you ever get into trouble?
Yes. Okay.
Can you say
this is
something?
more of a recent getting into trouble. So, I was actually on shoot when we shot. every morning our call time was 5 a.m. for the director, for myself. And everyone else would slowly get up at 5:30 and then breakfast at 6, and we were out the door by 7.
So you were on location?
We were on location. We actually stayed and shot at my house in Woodstock, New York.
Nice.
Ooh. And so one morning, you know, I got up with my DP and my AD and went to scout out a particular location for that day. So we chose a fire department, what I thought was non-active. So, you know, we set up camp, or set, so to speak, and about 20 minutes into shooting, a gentleman comes in a pickup truck. I didn't think anything of it, and he calls over my producer, and of course I watch from afar. Turns out he's the chief of police, and turns out that this fire department is a very active fire department, and I gave her name. I said that I was her, which she doesn't know, but I said, I'm a resident of Woodstock, New York, you can't arrest me, you know. He said, well, if you hear a sound, you have to leave immediately. I said, no problem, we're out here in 2 minutes, I promise. He goes, no, 30 seconds. Oh, okay, no problem. And it was probably the only, she knows everything. There's nothing, I don't hide anything from her.
Well, your mother's kind of slick.
She is kind of slick.
She's very slick.
She's a very, you know her.
She's almost got like, what is it, Superman vision? She can see right through it.
She sees right through everything.
Yeah.
Everything. But she's awesome. She's great. And she's a huge inspiration for this film.
That's so, well, I'm sure.
Through the trials and tribulations of whatever parental issues there may be, I do have to say that her toughness, her tough love, her overextending of love, really was the foundation.
So you weren't defiant then much. They say, if my mother told me, I want you home by 6, you know I'd have come home 6:05 or 6:10.
Oh, no.
And I still do that with you women the way I am today.
Well, I grew up in New York City my entire life, and we had a rule in my house that as long as I was communicative with her and throughout the night, you know, I told her, okay, so I went to this house, and I'm moving to this house, and I'm going
cell
to this.
phones have changed everything with texting and children. It's a different world. I know. I mean, I'm so grateful I grew up without it. But now that it has it, you know, my kids, if they don't text me back, it's like, girls, the only reason you have a phone is to text me back. Everything else you use it for is luxury. That's not why you have a phone.
Some of us like me didn't always have phones.
Right.
And we also had the party line thing when I was young. And secondly, if we want to know if our friend's home, we might walk 2 subway stations down and just go over there and knock.
Just to be delinquent.
That's the way it was.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think it's amazing for you.
Thank you.
And any last shout outs? And it's Elephant Line.
It's Elephant Line.
Now, why is it Elephant Line?
Ooh, okay. Well, since we're on the day of truth, it's Elephant Line because it was actually first called the dash between birth and death. Okay. You know, on your tombstone, there's a dash between your birthday and the day that you die. And someone said, it's way too morbid, Gabby. It's ridiculous. Absolutely not. So what do you want to call it? And he said, well...
That's really brilliant, though. I like that.
It's okay. But now, Elephant Line comes from... elephants follow each other. The mama elephant is followed by her children, her baby elephants, and they attach to the tails, and it's kind of metaphorical to the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and
nice.
I think it's slightly
metaphorical. Well, I really am looking forward to seeing it. I want to see it like now.
Not now.
All right.
Wait till January, but you can come in January.
So January.
January, hopefully we will have a premiere of viewing in New York.
Good for you. And how can people find you for your next film, like if they want to be a part of it?
On Facebook.
Yeah.
GaBRieLLe PRoTeL.
And we'll have it on the rew-who page for sure, and every link that you send us.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
And I'd like to, maybe you could come back and do one of me and my mother. See,
He said
my mother,
He can't let that. You're going to have to make a mother-son show.
You know, maybe, actually, someone who had read my
You see how defiant I am? My mother made me the way I am.
That's
Look
true.
at it.
Blame it on her.
That's true.
He's rebelling
And
himself.
I talked about artists before. My mother would curse like an artesian. She'd say, "You son of a bitch, you fucking son of a bitch, bastard, freaking whore." You know, she went on and on like her sentences. You could write, paragraphs, because.
Aw, she didn't
Yeah.
mean it.
No.
She was, it was out of love.
Moms don't always mean the things that they say. They say things out of anger.
Oh, I didn't take it. That's
Hey.
the way it was.
What are you talking about? All right, we'll be back. Yes, we say things out of love, too.
Absolutely.
Exactly. More today,
Okay.
December 5th. Yeah.
All right.